Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to the Vegan World 2026 podcast on the Moonshot of our generation on Jane Unchained Live. And today we have Jane herself as the guest, along with uh, Ankit Sura. So I'm going to put all of you on the screen. So welcome. We just got through a weekend convergence for the Vegan World 2026 conference. I mean, we normally have this conference on site in Arizona, but this year, because of what has happened with the COVID-19 pandemic, we decided to do it online. And of course, we agreed to do it once every 3 months now, not once every year. So, because there's a lot of momentum now. At least I felt so energized at the conference. So what do you think, Jane?
I loved it. First of all, you are my hero. That's why I did a documentary about you called Countdown to Year Zero. The tagline is "Watch it before it's too late." And basically, it shows how animal agriculture is destroying our planet. And we have until 2026 to convert to a vegan culture, a plant-based culture, or we're, as a species, as a human species, could be done. So when Dr. Rao said several years ago, we're going to create a vegan world by 2026, I'm like, I'm on board. So we'd go to these conferences in person in Arizona, and they were super fun. And there were street fairs at night and great conversations. So I was kind of, well, what's the Zoom going to be like? But it was fantastic because the energy was there. People were sharing ideas. And I got a lot of great ideas out of it. A lot of great ideas.
Yeah, that was the intent of the convergence, is to get ideas, because this is what we used to do during the internet era as well. We used to come together once every 3 or 4 months. Actually, we were doing it once every 2 months towards the end because it was so intense. And when we get together, we sort of resolve our issues. We figure out how to move forward because we had a goal, and so it's simple engineering. This is how you have to do it to get to get everyone to agree on something. And
well, can I ask you a question? Because there were so many ideas flying around, and I was kind of like, who's keeping track of all this? Because I got some really great ideas, but I took really one that really struck me, and I could talk about that later. But are you keeping track of all these incredible ideas? Because somebody's got to collate all this.
Yeah. So what we are planning to do, we're going to.
Dr. Ralph.
So we have done this with the up convergence videos as well. We put it together into categories, and then based on that, we synthesize these 2 proposals that we adopted, and that's part of our strategic action plan. So we have created the strategic action plan with 7 actions that we need to do, and so that's how we are sort of trying to bring this together.
I think you have a card on that too.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
that clarified it for me. If you want to show people the card, because when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's basically our
So just building off on what Dr. Rao was mentioning about the strategic action plan. So definitely that is having about 7 action plans that have been identified that we need to work towards as a larger community, while everyone individually is still bringing their own communities together along with their, yeah.
All right, you froze up for a little bit, Dr. Rao, but you're back.
Sounds good. And I was just filling them in a little bit with the details.
Right. It is, I think the internet is acting up today. I don't know why.
Well, you're back, so we'll keep moving.
Sure. So the idea is that, we know where we want to go, and it's a question of how do we do it. And so we need to identify what needs to change and what needs to happen. In any world, like a vegan world that we want to build, You need to have vegan institutions. You need to have vegan infrastructure. So because everything has to be vegan, we are not hurting animals anymore. So we need to figure out how to do that for everything, right? All of our production has to be without animals, so we shouldn't be hurting animals for any reason whatsoever. So you need vegan businesses for everything, right? Vegan processes for everything. So that's the vegan infrastructure we need to build. And vegan institutions, meaning institutions that are about taking care of the earth, taking care of the animals, having a different purpose than, because right now our institutions are all about how do we extract from the planet.
Yeah. And we got to change, as they say, the only thing that has to change is everything. But I think the key is food. Food is the key. Once we get people, so many of the products that people use that involve animals involve food. So food is the key. And I noticed you have this card behind us that really lays out what needs to change. I was hoping maybe you could put that up for everybody.
Yeah, let me see.
That really shows what the big picture change that has to occur is.
I'm trying to navigate on StreamYard to make that happen. So
it's
probably the rightmost.
Yeah, it's all right. But continue on. Your broadcast. I shouldn't tell you what to do. That's me. That's me. It's just it's very illuminating. But I mean, one of the things that I took away from it that I'd love to mention is Animal Fairness Alliance. So they did a presentation, and the presentation by Laura Montoya Reese said that if every vegan in this country gave literally $10 a month, we could then have enough lobbyists to literally out lobby the meat and dairy industry. So what she said is they take that money and they hire lobbyists who will lobby for legislation that will eliminate subsidies to factory farming and concentrated animal feeding operations. And that the more lobbyists they have, the more effective they are. And they have great campaigns that they go, through Congress, introducing themselves to people. Relationships are how things get done. So I thought that was a brilliant presentation, and I immediately went and donated to every month $25 to Animal Fairness Alliance. All you have to do is put in Animal Fairness Alliance. It's an incredible organization. You don't get a tax deduction because it is a political thing. It's a 501c4, I believe, and you help get these lobbyists there to talk to the people who make the laws, so we can stop being forced as taxpayers to subsidize this cruel and destructive industry.
Yeah, it's something that we can all do. We can all put in our $10 a month and help.
BJ.
Hi, BJ. And I think I see Joya behind you.
Hi. Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I also contribute to monthly to JVL. So glad
I will start. Thanks for telling me about it.
Yeah.
We love the conference, and right now we're getting ready to deliver vegetables to people in need that can't get food from the food bank. And so that's why we're out here this morning. And so we're waiting for somebody to help us. We've got 10 sacks of veggies, and we got to talk about this at the conference, and it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. This is you're acting out right away. This is what the conference is all about. It was about action. So taking action, getting vegan food to people, because that's the best way to get people to see our point of view, is to feed them, to show them what it really tastes like, and that we can actually become healthy as people, and then get our planet to be healthy as well. So it's There is no way to do this with sick people around. So we need to heal the planet, which means we need to heal ourselves first to get there. So Ankit, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jay.
I had a question for you. Obviously, this is extraordinary, BJ and Joya going and feeding those who need food. But then what do you do about the people who say, well, no, it's okay. I've got my own food. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, see, for people who say, I have my own food, thank you, that's fine. They're free to choose what they want to eat. But people who don't have food should be given healthy vegan food. So that way you get a large base of people who are healthy and who love vegans.
Yeah.
We've got a
So it's
farmer
bottom-
here.
Yeah.
Yes, please, farmer.
Yeah, we've got a farmer here who donates food after the farmer's market. And so we've got fresh veggies, and then we buy some extra things for them also. And they're very grateful, and we're glad to do it. And we're hoping to get more people donating and involved that do care, but sometimes they just need to know more face up how much they're helping.
Absolutely. I mean, it's about getting that feedback in place so that we know that when actions are done, and what your money went towards. And when people see that feedback and they see that transparency, they feel more generous and they donate more. So it's through this feedback that we correct ourselves, right? Even otherwise, if you immediately felt the impact of what you're eating, we wouldn't be eating what we are eating. It just takes time right now, So this is why we get the message after we get chronic diseases.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's again the profit model. We're not just fighting the meat and dairy industry, we're fighting the pharmaceutical industry almost as much. I mean, you look at the TV commercials. When I watch cable news to get the latest, I can't believe the number. It's like every person in America has some horrible, chronic, disgusting condition. And then they're encouraged to identify with their illness. Like, I'm a this. And it's this whole thing. It's like, make that illness a part of your identity, almost like a badge of honor. And then you see people talking about their illnesses in a way that's like, I've got this. It's like, this is a crazy upside down world. First of all, we shouldn't be marketed pills at all. When you go to a doctor, the doctor is supposed to examine you and diagnose you. You don't go up to a doctor and say, hey, can I have this pill? Can I have this pill? They even say, like, ask about the such and such pill and mention the color. No, that's the model of a drug pusher, not a medical institution.
So just to build off on what Jane was mentioning about the healthcare system and what BJ is doing, actually working on the field, getting the fresh produce to the people who need it, because they are the one who are suffering, right? With the processed food, that's where the food deserts are, and only processed food is available to them, and they are the one who are feeding on that, having hypertension and chronic diseases that Jane was mentioning. But what happens ultimately? The doctors don't care, right? It's the game A mindset where the entire society is so much into this mode of the grind. So I think that all needs to shift, and I think the convergence was a good place. And maybe we need to hear more stories from the ground. BJ, anything else to add? Because you were heading the room also, institution room.
Well, thank you so much. I just want to say that Joya is the one that connected me with the farmer, and then when we were delivering food to the individuals, one of the daughters asked, "Is it organic?" And the mother was embarrassed that she asked because she wanted her just to be grateful for the food. But people know that they want good, healthy food. I mean, some people do, and I think the more that we get it out there, our name is the Immune Boosters. And so we have a little webpage. We've just been going a month. So we're trying to let people know that we are helping boost their immune system. And I hope the doctors catch on to that also. And I think some of them are.
I think so too. And I think what you were saying about the food deserts and the processed food being only available, we're in a sort of a rural area. Where I live specifically is a little bit rural, and there's not access to as much produce as I would like. And I was able to find this farmer at the farmer's market, which I was happy about, and then able to compare what he was offering with what else was available. And we have another new grocery store that's offering healthy foods and produce and giving us food to redistribute through our immune boosters program. And that's really exciting. So it started with an effort to find fresh produce for myself personally. And then I got to meet BJ and learn more about what she was doing and what this group is doing. And it's really exciting to be able to spread produce throughout the world.
And I'd like to introduce you to someone, if I may. Okay.
Please
This
do.
is Andrea, and she is. I hope you can see her. She's with Mono Amiga, and she is the one that's helping us find those people that don't speak Spanish, maybe don't have identification, maybe just need some help. And so we're really grateful that she's in this too. So thank you.
Yes, no problem.
All right, looks like we've got to pack up and distribute this food. It's been great talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Incredible.
Thank you for your amazing work. Yeah. This is, kindness in action, compassion in action, what you're doing there. Thank you.
Wow.
And just to build off on that, BJ was heading the institution room for 8 hours straight, along with Summer and Dr. Rao. So that was happening on 2 days continuously, and it was so impressive because BJ is such a person in action with her church and a lot of other things that's going on. And over here with the immune booster, she wants to take the people who were at the convergence attending and listening. She wants to take them, those who are interested in the topic of food healing, and show them the ways how she's doing it. So she's leading by example and showing us how she's doing it, how she's bringing people together. Because myself, I haven't done it, but I'm intrigued to learn, right? And then join this party, this group, this guild of food healers.
Yeah.
Dr. Rao, how would it work for people who don't really feel like it's their forte to go and actually do the feeding? Or, for me, making coffee and oatmeal at the same time is a major accomplishment. I don't think I'm qualified to go feed lots of people, but how could I be involved as a person to help the movement?
Well, everyone brings their own gifts. You have a gift of talking to people, communication, getting the word out. And that's what you do best. And that's where we need you to spread the word, and talking to the New York Times, getting them on board, those are the kinds of things that we desperately need. Because ultimately, it's all of us as a species have to come together to make this happen. This is not about dividing us up into vegans and non-vegans or anything like that. This is about all of us being on a journey home to who we really are. We are all returning to our hearts, to our compassionate selves, and so that we can regenerate the planet and bring back the animals and create this Eden that we know is possible on Earth. If it's not possible on Earth, how can we create it on Mars? Right?
Yeah. And specifically for the food, though, I mean, how can you encourage people who don't want to physically go out and get food from farmers market? Is there some kind of virtual cooperative where people could donate to that as well?
Yeah, so we are working out all the details of that. This needs to be coordinated. This is why we have the Food Healers Initiative, and we are talking to bigger organizations to so that we can get the right infrastructure in place for the donations, because we want to make sure it's transparent. We want to make sure that people know where their money is going when they start donating to it, because it's such an important cause, right? A lot of people are going hungry now, And it's an additional, I don't know, 50 million people are going to go hungry in the US alone. And worldwide, it's over 1 billion who are going to be hungry by the end of this year. And but we have plenty of food. It's just that we keep feeding it to the animals and then trying to extract it from the animals. It's this wrong system that we have put in place, system of exploitation, in which even the people are getting exploited. So, yeah, we are all being factory farmed, as I've said before.
Brilliant, brilliant. That is one of the most brilliant things that I've ever heard. Is we're all being factory farmed. They need people to get sick to make money.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Even those
Factory farm. Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Rao. Factory farmed.
we're all being factory farmed. I say even those who have privilege, you're also
Well, we are missing all
in
the
prison. So people because I've seen this, physically I've seen the people with privilege in poor countries like Ghana. If I was in Ghana a couple of years ago, actually 4 years ago now, and there I saw, there's a lot of poverty in the cities, but you see these houses of people who are rich, and they are just, they have huge compound walls and spikes on the walls so that people can get in. They have a guard outside, and basically they'll.
Yeah. Well, we live that way too, in America.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a prison that you're in. You really don't have to do that. There is plenty on earth for all of us. So when it's like, this is what happens when human, right? This human privilege that I can exploit any animal I want for any purpose they have over other animals. We are giving that up. And when we give that up, we discover actually we are happier. Right? I was happy. I became happier after I went vegan. So that is that is the freeing of prison, right? Coming out of prison and breaking out of prison and saying, okay, I don't need that anymore. The same thing has to happen with other things like material goods and things like that. And that's what this movement is, the Vegan World 2026 movement. It's about letting we're going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. How do we join the movement? That's the question. Earlier,
all men are created equal. And going vegan is easy. I mean, there are so many websites, there are so many places. You can just go to vegan22.com and sign up. And you'll be assigned a helper, a guide to help you with going vegan. So the vegan movement is a grassroots movement, and it has a lot of resources available to help people go vegan, because it's for our own health, for the health of our planet, and for the health of the animals. So we're doing it for a much larger cause. It's not about growing our movement for our own sake. Okay, this is why.
Well, I had an idea thinking about what you were talking about, and it just came to me. So I want to say it before I forget it. Can I do that, Dr. Rao? Is that okay? And you froze, so I'll continue on. I had this idea that it started when a long time ago, somebody said, who wasn't a vegan or an animal rights activist or anything, he said, the average person who's struggling financially, if they give up paper towels, can have like something like, I don't know, $1,000 a year at their disposal. So unfortunately, now during the pandemic, I've started to use recycled paper towels because of the concern about coming in from the street and getting, COVID possibly. But I'm not a fan of paper towels. Whenever this ends, my paper towels are going to stop again. But during the pandemic, a lot of things that people take for granted have gone away. Many women, for example, go out and get pedicures and manicures. Obviously, that has become like a COVID hotspot. You don't want to do that, right? So take the money that you've spent on pedicures and manicures and give it to one of the animal causes. whether it's Animal Fairness Alliance. Okay. Now, alcohol. I'm 25 years recovering alcoholic, 25 years sober. You spend money on alcohol, but I used to spend a lot back when I drank. Those of you who drink, take that money and give it to whatever animal cause that we come up with. I think Dr. Rao would be great to have a list of things that are non-essentials that people could give up. Housekeepers. A lot of people have housekeepers and come in and clean their house. I haven't had that for many years. I was in New York City living in a studio apartment. I finally said, this is ridiculous. I have to, there's no place to clean up. It's so tiny. And I just let it go. That money could be used for an animal cause. So the more things that it's not so much the one-time only expenditures. It's this stuff we spend money on every single month. That's what really adds up. Okay. And if we had a chart where we ask people to make a commitment, give up your pedicure and your manicure, give up your housekeeper, give up your alcohol, and take that money, you could literally fund our entire animal rights movement. And literally we could have more lobbyists in Congress. There's strength in numbers. We could leverage this discretionary spending, like a cup of coffee at a Starbucks, that kind of thing, because a lot of it has gone away. I haven't been into a coffee house in 6 months. I've been living on half a tank of gas for 6 months, and I drive a Prius. So what do you think of that, Dr. Rao? In other words, I feel like the most important thing is to leverage the vegan community globally, but here in the United States, if every single vegan gave up things that aren't going to impact their life, it's not like we're telling people you got to move into a studio apartment, but these are things that they can do without, but then redirecting that money to specific causes and picking like the top 10 things that they could then monthly redirect that fund to.
I'll just build off on that. So what Jane, you're asking is the transition that everyone needs to make in their life, and it can start with something small as pedicure, manicure that they would have been doing before pre-COVID times, but
Right.
now this is a time for reflection.
Do
to
its
transition.
actions, right? So
Yes.
this is how we strengthen the movement, and that's brilliant. This is about getting. COVID-19 has given us a lot of extra cash like that because we're no longer doing certain things. We're no longer buying so much gas. We're no longer buying, so much coffee. We're no longer going to restaurants like that, right? But we should use that money for growing the movement.
Exactly. Maybe we could make a chart of the top 25 things that people spend money on that they don't need to spend money on. It's a young man who bikes by, and then have a list of our top 10 favorite donation sites to send. Like I really got caught with this Animal Fairness Alliance idea because many years ago I helped elect somebody who was an environmentalist, and we all went to these fundraisers and we elected him, and then the Hallmark Slaughterhouse incident happened where it was the largest beef recall in U.S. history at the time, a horrible video of down cows being dragged. So we went to him to visit him in Congress and to show him this footage and say, do something. And his reaction was like, how do I get these people out of my office as fast as I can? He literally uttered not a word. He was afraid to acknowledge. He just kept like this. And I thought, this guy's already bought and paid for. They got to him. And we helped elect him. It was so infuriating. It was so demoralizing. It made me realize that our system is so morally bankrupt. We need to get lobbyists in Congress. This is the thing. If there's a, let's put it this way. You have a faulty building and you have one pole holding it up. Okay. All right. I would love to get rid of a pole in my kitchen, which blocks when I shoot my lunch break lives. But I suspect that if I remove that pole, the entire ceiling will collapse and my neighbor will sue me. So I don't touch it. I'd have to bring in all these architects and I don't want to do that. But the point is that the pole holding up the meat and dairy industry is Congress with their subsidies. And so we need to remove that pole. And we could do that by every vegan in the United States taking something they really don't need to do. I realized a long time ago, I hate manicures. I was getting a manicure and this person's massaging me. And I said to myself, I don't know this person. She doesn't seem to like me very much. And she's massaging me. It doesn't feel right. And I never walked into a manicure place again. And no, I don't have fabulous nails, but they suffice. So the point is that we could do, like, you can do your own hair color with henna. And it costs a tenth of cruelty-free henna, okay? It costs a tenth of going to a place and getting your hair colored by a colorist. There's like 40 things that you could list that people do that are not necessary. And then we get vegans to commit to not to do that anymore and give money. And then they get to pick which organizations they're going to subscribe to, they're going to give to on a monthly basis. Just like Amazon makes a lot of money from subscriptions. Instead of getting something, ordering it once, you start ordering it once a month. That's a huge revenue for them.
Yeah. No, that's
So this is I just want to add something to what Jane was mentioning about lobby, Congress not working, and like the faith in the system is collapsing. So building off on that, the action number 4, part of the strategic action plan, was about Constitution Convention. Now that's so interesting of an idea, right? When we think about it, how did they form a constitution? About 150? How long? I don't remember exactly, because I wasn't born here, right? I was born in a different country. I just became a citizen. So, but I have imbibed those values, right? Those values are there. Each and everyone has it, and that's why it makes us American, right? And it's so interesting to see what is this Constitution Convention? What would the new constitution look like for the future? And we have someone we know, very enthusiastic, one of the organizers who hasn't joined us today, but her name is Summer Rose, and she is such a fantastic, energetic person, bringing life into uh, governance and these ideas of governance, what future would look like, and her passionate thing. So we'll be having. Is it a weekly parties now for an hour or so? Or Dr. Rao, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we are having a weekly convergence to follow up with the weekend convergence every Monday at 6 o'clock Pacific time. And it's going to be in the convergence room that we use during the convergence. So it's going to happen every week after that, after today.
You know, I think that's a great idea. And I find that when I talk to Dr. Rao, I don't know, maybe your IQ rubs off on me for 5 seconds, because I always come up with ideas, but I only come up with them when I'm talking to him. Because I think this idea that we just discussed was a really good idea. It's a really good idea.
Of the transition, right, Jane?
Yeah, because
that's an awesome one. That's
a
an
grid.
awesome one.
Yeah, a grid. I want to say one other thing. This morning I woke up and I, of course, read the news, and I saw, Thanksgiving is going to be a major accelerator of COVID. So families feel obliged to get together, unfortunately killing turkeys. I used to call it Turkey Genocide Day. Now I call it Thanksgiving. So I looked at that story. I was like, oh God. Then I went on my emails and I got invited to Woodstock Animal Sanctuary, Farm Animal Sanctuary's Thanksgiving, virtual Thanksgiving. And I said, yes, because that's what I do on Thanksgiving. Sometimes around this time, I'll go to Thanksgiving at a sanctuary, and you feed, instead of killing the turkeys, you feed them cranberries and pies, and it's a great ceremony. Well, you can do it virtually. And I just thought, wow, what are the chances of me looking at those two stories back to back? Like, Thanksgiving is going to accelerate COVID. People are going to gather to kill turkeys. Oh, next swipe, you can go to Thanksgiving. It's almost like a metaphor for our entire choice, Dr. Rao, as a society.
That's a powerful sentiment over there. So Dr. Rao over here, transition, two ideas Jane has given, very powerful ones of transitioning each month with small expenditure. How do you commit, and how do people get recognized, right? And that is where you were saying about Aquarius game, about compassion, and how do we build that game, right? Because an act of compassion, giving up your manicure, pedicure that you're getting every month, and it's a precious thing for any lady, for a month, that it's but
Hate it.
it is sometimes, right? So that's a transition we are asking of them. So what
Yeah,
will motivate them, right? So
yeah.
that's a very interesting thing, a very interesting problem to work with also, right? Yeah, I
I
love.
think it's brilliant. And so, even though we've had some technical problems here, I think that some of the ideas we're coming up with are really good. And, it was a discussion that we were having live that ended up, Dr. Rao wrote the incredible white paper proving that animal agriculture is the leading cause of greenhouse gas emissions. So, uh, Anita Verma says you should start this NGO in all possible cities all over the world and have celebrities talk about, um, yeah, we need to do this. Everybody's like, yeah, let's do this. Okay, so that's my next project.
Nice,
Another project.
very nice.
I think Dr. Rao may not be aware that he froze, but it's okay. We accomplished something. I'm going to say
Mhm.
um, here.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I can build off on all those discussions, continue building off on it.
Oh yeah, I'd love it.
Yeah, because there is a lot to share with the community on what just happened at the convergence. We were there for about 2 days, and a lot of fantastic people coming to share their ideas, along with connect with each other and build relationship towards action. So for example, Jane just gave an idea of transition for a lady, and as well as for families. That is so much of a tradition. How do you like break free from those traditions, and at the same, as a family and as individuals, how do you give up the things that you love the most, like a monthly treat? It's a monthly treat that women treat themselves to, for pedicure, manicure. So how do you transition those things? It's a cultural thing. It can be done with art, and we had a fantastic person called Cara Stonehouse. She was coming from Hague Center, and she shared how art and other things can be combined together to make those transition happen. Even Lisa Barca was there, who was sharing about art and music and how they can be brought together in making things happen. Along with that, we had other fantastic people just gifting their gift. Like for example, we saw Dr. Sunny Sandhu singing about river dolphins in our convergence, and then we had Donna playing her musical indigenous instrument, flute, to share, like just to help the space be transitioned. And beautiful, beautiful contributions that each presenter did. And also everyone was trying to open up their heart and trying to connect with each other, listening to their story, as well as trying to see how I can weave a bigger story, because 2026, that's when, if we as humanity want to survive, we better understand is the world has to become vegan. So myself, I'm not vegan. I would accept the word pre-vegan, though I am non-vegan completely, not vegetarian. But definitely, I do see where Dr. Rao is going when he calls us all pre-vegans, because we all need to understand it's a journey that's going to start from each and everyone's heart in order for the systems to transform. And that's another journey that we have to bring people together
Well,
towards
let
those
me ask
things.
you a question. Were you inspired to become more vegan as a result of the weekend?
Oh, this is beautiful. The reason is, I would still say that by Dr. Rao and people like him who are vegans and all coming together and working together. Firstly, we are working as a team. That is helping us the chemistry to build between us, and the person who would never be exposed to a vegan message, who would not be hearing the vegan message, is
You,
hearing that message a lot.
you.
Hmm?
I'm talking to you. Did
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah. It does help. The vegan message, listening to vegan message again and again. I'll just share a story on that of an artist friend of mine. She just mentioned that it's more like it's making her think now, and I'm not, and that message going to her through me, who is not even a vegan, and going out is making her think about the life and what we are doing, all of us. So it's a very powerful message that is there, but you
No,
just have to involve non-vegans.
about you. I didn't ask about your friend. Did the
No.
weekend inspire you to?
Oh, I think I am inspired. That is why I'm here working
But
with
I mean,
them and actively organizing.
your choices every day of what you put in your mouth.
It started making me think.
Great, fantastic.
Yeah, I should have told you that Ankit is on his path,
Yeah.
but he has a family that is resisting. So I guess that's where the difficulty comes from. And
That's the biggest problem. 90% of the people I know say, I would, but my boyfriend, my husband, my wife, my sister, my mother. You know what? We're all on our own journey. We are on our own journey.
right,
And we have to be true to our journey. And the family issue really is more of a psychological thing. Families do a lot of stuff that's not exactly positive. We talk about family values, family values. Psychiatrists will point out that every family member is assigned a role. And if they break out of that role, all hell breaks loose. Okay? So one person is supposed to be the artist. The other person is supposed to be the business person. If the business person decides to become the artist, the whole family gets very angry. They're stepping out of their lane. Families can be extremely controlling. And part of the journey to being your own person is to stand up for yourself in the family unit and say, this is my life, not yours.
right,
That takes courage.
right. Yeah,
Yep.
this is go ahead.
Yep.
Ankit.
Yeah, no, I won't go ahead. I won't meet explain myself. There was a person presenting that book at the convergence, so I won't meet explain, but I will definitely just go ahead and say that I hear you, Jane. But harmony is very important. Happy wife is happy life. That's a lesson that I have learned very early. I would rather have happiness at home than peace in the world.
And I say the way to anyone's heart is through their stomach. Learn how to be a great vegan chef, and your wife will stop complaining.
All right, extra work. That's a good homework. Good action. Good action to take with me.
Actually, there was a brilliant presentation by Chrisan Polito Moller on how to create excellent vegan food in like 15 minutes. I mean, she did three dishes in 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Okay, basically putting together cooked substances and sauces is the upside down Buddha bowl, and it was genius because it's basically extremely healthy food. She just puts some greens together with grains and legumes, and she just says, go cook them during the weekend. Just cook a bunch of beans and legumes in the week. I mean, and grains in the weekend, and chop up your veggies and mix them up in any way you want, and put whatever sauce you want, and we get a completely different Buddha bowl. So there are several ways of doing this. That's makes it very easy for us to meet our objectives.
I think I have to go back to the Facebook Healer page. That's where all the videos are. So I may want to go back to Facebook. Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Check
only a 25-minute video.
JaneUnchained.com has hundreds of videos with the recipes. You can print them out. There's a print button. You can print the recipes out. It's real simple. Guys, I'm going to get ready for my next live. We're going live at 10 with a plant-based neighbor. We're doing a contest to end anti-animal language. We have 5 species as phrases, and people join Plant-Based Neighbor, and they put in their alternatives, their kind alternatives, and the winners win a prize.
Awesome. That's so amazing. Thank you for doing that. And thank you for being here, Jane.
Dr. Rao, you're my hero. You have the ability to create a vegan world. I know it, and anything I can do to help you, I'm there.
Thank you
Bye.
very much, as always, Jane.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice meeting you as well.
Same here. Same here. This
Okay.
was fun. Yeah, Dr. Rao. So where do we go next? What was on your mind? Well, Dr. Rao is having some internet issues, so I'll share what I know so far. Oh yeah, go ahead, Dr. Rao. What's on your mind? What's next?
No, I was going to say that have people come to this weekly convergence, so that we can continue the momentum. And we're all coordinating our actions through this convergence, and then we'll get together again in 3 months to in a bigger way. And so this is how we build our momentum towards a vegan world by 2026, because that we have to do. Okay, that promise cannot be broken. And that's what Kimaya has told me. And I think we owe our future generations this simple ask that they are asking, that we leave them a world that's thriving. Okay. So
That's true.
thank you all so much. Thank you, Ankit, for being here. Thank you for all your efforts during the convergence. It was greatly appreciated. And you can do it, Ankit. And Amira is saying, you can do it.
Yep. And I think we have done it. It's going to happen every quarter, so we'll continue doing this and making sure we bring groups, people together constantly, and let them build off from there. And I have Lua from Germany joining us, the graphic recorder who has been graphic recording this convergence for different presentations. So maybe we need to bring her into this conversation on what her experience was like.
Yes, Lua, if you can hear us, please share.
It was amazing. Thank you so much. In the last conference, I went from being vegetarian to understanding the importance of being vegan.
Mm-hmm.
And in this conference, just what I learned about the environment and systems and the reasons, going beyond just the health, going beyond the caring. It's a lot more than also the compassion for the animals, but the reasons are much more profound, even scientific reasons. Now I feel I have the ability to talk to people about this. In the past, I think it was mentioned that a lot of people felt embarrassed to put this out there, like being a closet vegan. And this is what I felt like for a long time, that even I went from being vegan to being vegetarian because of the pressures from the outside months ago. But after being in the conference and understanding really the impacts of my actions, I can't do this anymore. And I know that it's not just me. It doesn't help. I change myself. That's one thing. Yes, that's great. But it's not going to make the change. The change is when I'm able to explain it and kindly and with compassion bring it to the people around me and have them understand in ways that each person can understand from a different perspective. My dad, for one, will not be able to understand the compassion as much as the science. My mom might be more for the compassion than the science. So having all the reasons and being able to communicate, thank you.
Oh, thank you for being there. So it was we tried to make a very welcoming convergence because it's about all of us going vegan. That's what a vegan world is. And all of us have to go vegan, So, and some of us are kind of saying, okay, look, we have done it and it's not so bad. And you see, in fact, it's great. It's so good.
Yes.
He's having some internet issues, Lua, but I'll just build off on what you were mentioning about.
Okay.
Yeah, no, the ideas that you're sharing about compassion and the science.
To me, it is
Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Rao. I was just trying to fill in.
No worries. No, I was just saying that this is a transformation that we are all on, right? We are all coming home to who we really are. We are fundamentally compassionate beings, and so we were given this power by nature in order to stabilize the Earth's climate, and we have done it. We now have the ability to control, to regulate it forever. And so this generation has a responsibility to make this transformation from a predator species to a caregiver species, so that the next generation onwards, that becomes normal, that you're a caregiver species, for the entire planet.
It's
So,
it's it's truly wonderful, and I just want to add, Dr. Rao, that Lua, as a graphic recorder, is telling a story with pictures. So
mhm,
so it takes time. The process takes time to bring it all together, and that's what she'll be doing in the background. And she's already doing a lot of things. So it'll be nice and fantastic. And I'm making the connections going with Kara and others and Danny and those who are interested in this art form of storytelling with pictures and capturing our journey as we go along, because it's going to be an ongoing journey, right? With Up
right,
Convergence, with 40 Days of Service, with Local to Global Justice Festival, with this. And that's how the movement will take shape.
right. It's already taking shape. It's building up. It's converging. All of us, we were all
It's
thinking that we
really
are
an
doing.
honor to be able to be a part of this.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on board, Lua. It's we all bring our own gifts, and that's what we are doing here. And together, we are much, much bigger than each individual.
And just to add to that, Lua is also looking at something in Brazil. I think there is a land for indigenous women, maybe school, which we may have to construct as a global team, coming together, bringing those ideas together, and making it happen. So, Lua, keep us all in the community informed, and maybe create a space that we were asking each and every group to do, so that invite people to come, join, get involved, so that we can do it. For example, a little while earlier, we saw boosters from the field joining this live stream and sharing their story of the convergence and what their work is all about. So it's amazing. We need that energy multiplying, because it's going to be grassroots movement. It cannot. This is no top-down movement. It's a grassroots movement, because
Mhm.
the pyramid schemes are not working. The pyramid schemes of Congress and all those other corporations, or even the big institutions, are not working.
Yes, I see that also here in Germany. The institutions are breaking down, but the small villages are coming together. And I think as a tribe, if we have a shared vision, we can do a lot more in unity than,
Mhm.
of course, just having a vision alone.
Right.
It would be beautiful to see this grow, especially with the younger people, with the education in
Mhm.
places that it's developing, that then people can connect with each other. So mm, I'm not sure how, but I know it's possible to
Mhm.
make this happen quickly, that the children can then, and the younger people can then connect with each other. So my dream is to see us supporting the younger people with less access to education, and teaching these people especially that maybe know even less than the general population, so they very quickly are the ones bringing back the information of the truth of the reality of our situation and how to be a caregiver to the general
Mhm.
population. They can grow very quickly. The children have the ability to learn much faster than the adults. And then they can turn around and show the adults the reality.
So just building off on that quickly, it's so interesting. Firstly, Lua, you are also trying to work with youth in getting them awakened about the forests in Windenthal. So you have to keep those youth to the convergence, bring them to the convergence as ambassadors. That's the first thing. And second thing is, myself also having nephews somewhere I can connect, and then we can have those global connections going, and we'll make that happen. So on the second part of the institutions and like relearning, like unlearning and relearning, kind of a unlearning and relearning. So current education system doesn't work. So think about it: Zoom calls for children, 8 hours staring into the screens, and also what are they learning? I'll give an example. At a school in New Jersey, they were actually having an equity competition. Like the children are building machine learning kind of algorithms so that they could do stock trading. Oh my god, stock trading, I made this much money, I made this much money. All right, so that's what they are teaching at the school, and they're going in big numbers. They're involving like 150 schools and building a pyramid scheme. Oh, here, this is the winner over here with the best kind of a algorithm, machine learning algorithm, to basically ace the what do you say, the equity pyramid scheme that's going on over there in the Wall Street, right? Those are the people who are investing in these non-profits, and they are trying to push these ideas out there. Whereas we need to think differently, because climate
Mhm.
engineering will have to be showing us the pyramid scheme of the number 1% and their carbon emissions level, and as well as the grassroots people like for us who are driving their cars, having these fancy BMWs and Rolls Royce or Teslas in their this thing, to understand that it took a lot of metal to build those cars. Also, a lot of resources came from somewhere. Learn those what do you say, supply chain, if Tesla is really honest about what do you say, those big picture things about going to Mars, and really thinking about it, think about those resources also, and openly tell us how much is it, what is the supply line, open source the whole economy. Because that's not happening, right? People are keeping in their trade secrets and all those what do you say, backdoor agreements that's happening in the Davos and all those places. So we need to talk about it and start getting people together to understand, make sense of their schemes. That is where we will also, okay, no, we don't want to follow those schemes. Let's build our new schemes. Let's build our own community. Let's build our own, what do you say, economy, of all those fantastic ideas, institutions, constitutions. Let's do that. Let's play with it. It's all ideas right now. Let's do that. Let's build it. And then what happens? Buckminster says, right? If you build like, why fight the old system when you can build your new system so that you can make them obsolete? Let's make them obsolete, right? That's the journey now. All those people, for example, I'll just give you, this is the election season. So what happens? People are like putting their banners at the road signs over here, road signs over here. Do they ever tell us how much did it cost me to build those road signs and put it over there? Who put it over there? Did they ever make those things openly disclose it? Of course not, because it's a scheme for us to tell them, oh, this is the candidate, that is the candidate, this is in blue color, this is in red color, and that's how we build the scheme, the pyramid scheme, so that you constantly choose between the blue and the red team, so that you never know that we the green team is existing at the grassroots, who need to change this thing, who understand it. We all need to go plant based. That's the green team over there. But if we forget to see, we just see red and the blue. That's what the signs everywhere are running around, right? So I just wanted to add that. So it's like the
Yeah.
young people need to make those change happen.
Yeah. Talking about the
Is this
green
being
team.
recorded?
Yes,
I'm
it's
so
live on
sorry.
Facebook. And so, talking about the
So,
green team,
one thing that I noticed.
go ahead, Lua. So, talking about the green team, there was a talk by Malini Rajendran who said children should be collecting seeds and creating seed libraries in their school. And there was a principal, the principal's husband of my granddaughter's school was there. And so he said, yeah, let's do that in the school. And so my granddaughter, when she heard about it, she said, yes, that makes a lot of sense. And I would love to help. Basically, having kids collect seeds from vegetables and fruits and bring it into school and put it into the jars, the appropriate jars, build up the library, and then have the seeds be available for children to take if they need, if they need to want to plant an orange tree, to take an orange seed and go. So that sort of thing, creating a seed library in schools. That's simple, and it harvests the so-called food waste. Even vegetables that are rotting have good seeds. You can take them out and use them, and before you compost the vegetables, right? So this way you create this mindset of connection with nature right from the outset. So people see seeds and they see that seeds are the source of life. You know, I think that was a fantastic idea that came out of the convergence, and I would love to see
Yep. Seed banks. That was amazing, and composting, and how the connection with the children can happen. Uh, uh, and it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Like, how do we act? How do we bring this all into action? Right? How do we get the youth involved to start learning about this science and the emotions and the reasons, as well as seed banking and volunteering on the grass roots, like making the change happen, and those mindset shift happen, because we need it. That consciousness, the shift in consciousness, we need globally. Yep. Because when culture is a problem, what do we do next? You create a counterculture. That's what you do. You create a counterculture, and that's exactly where we are going with it, right, Lua? So do you want to jump in, share your thoughts? Yeah.
Yes, I see here in the village how less the children have become interested in the environment. And here is a place that would be perfect for this. It's got enough land that farming isn't an issue, but the interest somehow has dwindled. People are stuck in the game A paradigm, in the red team, in the numbers, and in the technology, which in and of itself isn't bad, but it's like any tool. If you're using it for the wrong reason, it's not helpful. So the big challenge is, the way I see, is how to get the children excited, and really it has to start at a young age. I'm thinking maybe to go to the kindergarten and to go to the elementary school and to see if I can talk to the teachers and see about doing an after school initiative where maybe the seed bank, we can use this to start a children's garden. I'm not sure if it will take the action, because the children have to be the one that are excited, but I will not know unless I try.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
maybe it's only what they need is this motivation.
Mhm.
Maybe all they need is something to get excited about, and they will get excited about it. Maybe the reason that they're not excited is that they don't see this anywhere, and there's nothing to propel them into doing this, because no one is talking about it. No one is excited about it. And when the
Beautiful.
movement starts, and then they see how fun it is, maybe that's all they need.
Right.
Movement starts and how fun it is. Nice, huh? Movement and fun. Let's make it fun.
Yes.
Lisa Barca is there, Donna is there, even Renee is a musician. We have Jason was there, so many, Thomas was there, so many people who are musicians, the graphic recording, like they have their gifts, as Dr. Rao says. Bring all the gifts together and build this shift in this consciousness that we need. Consciousness, that shift. When the culture is a problem, build a counterculture. When your old institutions are not working, build new institutions, and let's make that change happen. Let's happen.
Yeah.
Right? It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
On that note, I have to end this broadcast because it's already gone for over an hour. So thank you very, very much. And we will meet again during the convergence and talk this evening. Okay.
Take care. Bye.